The arresting officer and the farmer gathered to discuss the evidence and how the evidence would be presented.
All right. We call the first witness, Mr. Francois Smith, to the stand. Please state your full names for the record as well as your occupation.
My name is Francois Smith. I'm a farm owner in the Webner district.
Mr. Francois Smith, you mentioned that you are a farm owner, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, how many animals do you have and what type of a farm is it?
It's a cattle farm. I've got 215 cattle,
What do you use these cattle for?
basically for breeding and selling for the meat market.
Okay. And as per the law, you're supposed to brand all your animals. Do you have a specific brand mark?
Yes, sir. I've got a specific brand mark that was assigned to me by the South African Registration of Branding Marks. It's ABC and it's in a triangle form.
Okay.
So basically A is on top, B and C is on the bottom of the branding mark.
And are all your animals branded with this brand mark?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, is it correct that you are here to testify about an incident that occurred on your farm?
Yes, sir.
In your own words, can you tell the court what happened? What led to you coming to court to testify today?
On Monday morning, the 7th, about 9 o'clock, I went down to my cattle in the nice grazing where they were. I counted them, everything was fine. I've got my 250 bronze Mara cows walking there. I left, my fencing is good, I've locked my gate and going on to my other farm duties. Wednesday morning, the 9th, round about 7, let's say 7:30, 20 minutes to 7 to 7:30.
This would be in the morning.
Yes, in the morning. I've received a WhatsApp on our WhatsApp farm group that there's been illegal activities in our area, and they pulled off a bakkie that had a suspicious cow on them. I've looked at the photo and it looked like one of the cows, that was one of my cows basically.
So you suspected that one of the cows that was circulated may belong to you.
Yes.
What did you then do after?
After that, I went to the maize grazing, and I've counted my cows, and I saw that there's one short, and my padlock and chain wasn't on my gate. It was broken open or cut open, and from there I went down to the kraal that we usually basically use to sort them, mark them, give him the brand mark, and I found that there one of my previous year's red ear tags with a 1924 that is telling me that must be one of my cows then that was stolen.
Now, just so that the record is clear, you earlier testified that you have 215 cows, and now you're saying there's one short. Just for record purposes, when you counted the cows on Wednesday, how many were they?
240.
Now, once you realize that you have one cow that is short, what did you then do?
I immediately contact the sergeant to talk to him and tell him that this is basically, I think, one of my cows that's been stolen. I can't be certain, I have to identify it.
Okay. And then what happened?
Then I went into the police station where the police officer and the suspect were with the cow.
For record purposes, who is this police officer that you contacted?
I contact Sergeant Mofokeng
Okay.
of Wepener Police Station of stock theft.
Okay. You contacted Mr. Sergeant Mofokeng. What then happened?
I told him that I think it's one of my cars that's been stolen, and then I drove to the police station to go do the identification of the cow.
And did you identify the cow?
I've tried to identify it with the app that I use, ID Scan.
Right there. May you please explain for the court what is this app that you use and what is ID Scan?
ID Scan is basically a software program that we use on our cell phones, that you scan your cattle, basically your nose, the nozzle of the nose, your ear tag, the face of the cow, and your branding mark on your cattle.
And where do you upload that?
And that's been uploaded to ID Scan's cloud, and from there I can draw my information in, and they're giving me an ownership certificate for every cattle that I have.
All right. There will be a witness that comes to testify about the technology. However, in this instance, can you tell the court, did you use ID scan?
Yes, sir, on all my cattle.
All right. And you are at the police station to identify whether this animal belongs to you. What happened?
To the ID scan, and then I sent the forensics photo of the nose through to Mr. van der Merwe of Westco Forensics.
Yes. When you arrived at the police station and you saw this animal, what could you see on the animal?
My observation on the animal was that the ear tag was removed on the right hand side, and they was tampering with my branding mark.
Can you explain the tampering? What exactly could you see?
They basically used another hot iron to burn over my branding mark.
Is this the same? Earlier you testified that all your brand marks are on the buttocks. Where was this brand mark tampered with?
The C was basically made into a D.
Okay. Do you have any information as to what happened on your farm? You mentioned earlier that there was tampering and the padlock and the chain was cut. Do you have any information of what happened there?
I saw there's tracks into my ground, and the padlock was broken, and they pulled the bakkie into the field and loaded the animal, where I also can see they used the same road then out.
Now, after all this had taken place and you spoke to Sergeant Mufokeng, what was your conclusion?
My conclusion is that animal belongs to me. That's my animal that's been stolen.
Why?
Because that if you look at the brand mark, mine is an old one. So it healed and it's visible everything. But the new one, you can still smell the hair burning, burnt hair, and it was a fresh brand mark on the animal.
Now, what was the importance of the ID scan that you mentioned earlier?
The importance of the ID scan is that I've got the information of the cattle, of that specific cow, with the tag number, everything on the ID scan.
Yes, and was this used by the police to assist you in this case?
No, sir. I'm the only person that can log into it and verify it on my phone.
And did the police at any stage later contact you regarding the progress of this case?
Yes, sir.
What did they notify you?
That was my cow from the forensics that came back to them, and then they basically returned the cow to me.
Okay. Did you give anyone permission to remove your cattle or steal your cow?
No, sir.
Did you give anyone access to your cow?
No, sir.
I have no further questions, Your Worship. God bless us.
Mr. Smith, thank you. You testified earlier that you loaded some information onto the ID scan app. Will you please tell the court whether or not it's possible that somebody may use your phone and your credentials to load up information without your knowledge and amend the details that are on the cloud?
No, sir. I'm the only person that can log into it.
Thank you. Just want to obtain instructions. No further questions, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. The state calls our second state witness, Esias Buerta, to the stand. May he be sworn in. Court, please.
Sir, please state your full names and occupation for the record. Do you swear that the evidence you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, so help me God.
Good afternoon, sir. May you please state your professional background?
Yeah, I'm Esias Buerta. I'm currently the CEO of IDScan. Been working for IDScan now close to 3 years.
Okay. What is ID Scan?
IDScan is a born-in-the-cloud technology company where we developed an application that farmers can use to capture the information of their cattle. And the application also allows the farmers to verify the cattle uniquely through the biometric features of that specific animal.
Can you briefly explain to the court what does biometric verification of animals entail?
Sure. Biometric verification uses the unique biological features of an animal that's specific to that animal. So you can then uniquely verify that that animal is who that animal is, basically by comparing different images or those biometric features of the animal to its counterpart in the database.
Just so we are on the same page, as I'm a lay
Sure.
person, the court is experienced in law but not in biometrics. What do you mean by the unique feature of an animal? What would that be?
Now, in our case, we use the animal's muzzle.
Okay.
So each animal, it's been proven in 1922 by Dr. Reynolds from the University of Minnesota in the United States, that the muzzle or the nose images of a cow is unique to that specific cow. And it also doesn't change over time. So our system, what it does, it basically captures those unique features of the nose and making sure that once you want to verify that animal, you can do it again by comparing the image you've got in front of you to the one that we've got stored in our database.
To your knowledge, what makes the muzzle of an animal unique to itself?
Now, each animal very similar to a human's fingerprint, the muzzle itself. So it's got the same valleys and ridges and beads that you can compare to a human's fingerprint. And those valleys and ridges and beads on the muzzle makes unique patterns or features on that nose that's easily comparable to see if you can actually identify the uniqueness of that specific animal.
In your experience, have you ever had a case where there were two animals with the same features?
No. We also made sure that in our system we've got a duplication checker built in as well. So in case a user tries to upload two animals, the system will basically pick it up and flag it as a duplicate.
Okay. Now, your technology, how does your system ensure that the biometric or the muzzle pattern, as you put it, is comparable to that of a human fingerprint in terms of uniqueness and performance?
What we do, like Dr. Reynolds I referred to that proved this in 1922, he also implemented the method using ink, similar to that they used for fingerprints in the past, where they captured the nose prints basically using ink. So our system basically just digitized that. So we capture an image of that specific muzzle, we then digitize it and convert it into an image where the system will be able to pick up the unique features of that specific, the prints on that muzzle.
In the past, they used to use ink, and you just made use of technology. What is the role of technology in ID scan uses in the identification process?
In this process, the technology is central to the whole process. Because of the fact that we digitize those images, we keep it secure on the database, we can prove that, or basically make sure that everyone knows that those images are secure, it's tamper-proof, and it's unique. So you can't have duplicate images on the database, and when you do a verification or identification of that animal, you can be assured that the images are the ones that we've got in the database. You can't tamper with it, and it also doesn't degrade over time. So that still stays unique in the system. And those are the two things that's very comparable to fingerprints, is the permanency of it and then also the uniqueness of it.
Now, we live in the age of AI and technology. How do you, or how does your company prevent false positives or misidentification?
We're quite strict on that. We took the approach of rather a no match than a false positive for obvious reasons. So there are thresholds built into the system where there must be a number of features that do match before we will classify that nose as a match. That's what we do. So if it doesn't meet certain criteria or thresholds, we will rather throw out a no match and get the user to basically do an identification again, because it's still in the hands of the user how he actually takes those images. So it might be sometimes where there's maybe a mistake that using the application, and you can just re-verify the animal.
And what would be your threshold? What is your minimum matches?
We've got a system in place where there must be 10 features that match before we will consider it as a match basically for that specific animal.
Okay. Have there been any independent validations or peer-reviewed studies supporting the effectiveness of your system?
I think the studies that Dr. Reynolds did proves that the technology or the approach we're taking is sound. And then we've also been working with Vesco Forensics in supporting us to do the comparisons of how this specific approach will stand up against using the traditional fingerprint approach, which is very similar, like we said. And I think, yeah.
My understanding of this technology is that a farmer will take a picture of the muzzle of the animal, right? We're on the same
You're
page
right, yeah.
there. Right. Now, how is this image or the data of the image protected against tampering?
Yeah, we also made sure that when we implemented the system, that we go to the cloud as well. So making sure of the features that the cloud brings to us around the security, the reliability, etc. of the cloud. So we also implemented methods where the data is encrypted at rest and also encrypted in transit. So that means when you save the data, it's encrypted. And when you actually, there's communication maybe between a mobile device and the database, that communication is also encrypted. So people can't tamper with it. In addition to that, we also made use of an external company to do a well-architected framework assessment of our system, which very much focused on the security of the system, the reliability of it, how it can scale, and some other features as well, and just to make sure that we are adhering to best practices in the industry according to what's expected of us from security standards and so on.
Just so that the court is also following, once a person or a farmer uploads an image,
Yes.
it cannot be manipulated or tampered with.
Not at all. Even us as super admin users from IDScan can't go and change that image that the farmer used to initially onboard that muzzle. That must be done through getting permission, and that can only be done by technical people. But we also made sure that there's an audit trail. So whatever happens with that animal, even if you change the color of the animal or if you change it had horns, it's now dehorned, there's an audit trail that captures all that data, that information, plus who actually did it. And we incorporated that into what we call a book of life. So the farmer can actually pull a book of life record and see exactly what happened to that animal from when it was activated through to when it went to the abattoir, for example, everything.
And then how do you ensure that the image was taken from the correct animal and not from another source?
Yeah, the capturing of the image still lies with the farmer at the end of the day. So they put in, although we're taking a geolocation and storing the metadata of that specific image, we're also making use of when, for example, when an animal they're going to try and verify that animal in future, and it's the live animal, it doesn't match up to the real image that's been on the database, it will come up with a false positive, and then we can investigate. So I think it's similar to a brand mark. You can put any brand mark on an animal. So it's we did put in measures as far as possible, but it's up to the farmer that takes the images at the end of the day.
Now, Mr. Botha, is the biometric verification process performed live in real time, or is it captured from stored images?
It's done in real time, except when the farmer, for example, is out in the veld and doesn't have connectivity. If he wants to do a verification, it gets queued onto his mobile device, and as soon as he's got connectivity again, that will be submitted to the cloud where the processing will happen and it will push back a result.
Oh, so what you mean with this is it has to be connected to Wi-Fi or connected
Yes.
to the internet?
Yeah.
Okay. How does ID Scan link the muzzle biometric to a specific animal and owner?
On the database, every entity, and the entity is seen as the farmer, the farm, and then the animal. So those are three entities. So every entity that's stored on a database got a unique database number. And when the farmer, for example, registers his profile, he gets a unique number. When he registers his farm, the farm gets a unique number. When he uploads the animal to a specific farm, the animal gets a unique number. So those three numbers together is what forms what we call a primary key. And that is unique to that specific animal. And the animal's got, obviously, the nose print associated to it. So that's how we make sure that that link is there. Even if the farmer then transfers ownership of the animal to another farmer, then the new farmer's unique ID and the farm that he's going to put the animal on, and the animal's ID is then linked. That forms then the primary key to link the new farmer to that animal.
So in essence, can you trace and verify an animal's movement or ownership using the system's records?
Most definitely. We've got, again, back to the Book of Life, where from the day that you activate that animal, everything that happens to that animal gets logged on the Book of Life. So if you do a verification again of that specific animal, maybe at another location, it takes the date of the verification, the geolocation of that new verification, and that goes into the Book of Life. Transfer of ownership, treatments, if you put it on a batch or transport, everything is in there. So you can trace that animal, like I say, from date of activation until it gets sold or when it goes to the abattoir.
Now, I just want you to explain to the court what metadata is stored with each biometric scan.
When the farmer uploads the data of the animal and takes the image of the muzzle,
Yes.
the geolocation of that image is taken. In the audit trail, they also then track who actually did that onboarding, when it was done, what farm, etc. So there's a whole collection of data that we actually collect for each animal and each activation that happens on the database. And that is traceable as well back to the audit trail.
How secure is the data storage? Who has access to modify it?
Only the farmer, unless we do have functionality on the system where he can provide rights to other users. Again, that goes into the audit trail. So he can also have different levels of access that he can provide to, for example, a foreman, where if he wants a foreman only be able to read the animals but don't change any data, he will give him read access. So we're taking the approach of role-based access. So you get rights based on the role that you perform on the system. And then a farmer can add his own users as well and give them certain rights.
Okay. Can you explain how do your biometric system compare to the traditional methods such as branding, such as ear tags or RFID in terms of reliability and tamper resistance?
Yeah, our system, I think, complement these other methods that's in play at the moment. Unfortunately, with, for example, the tags, the RFID tags, the brand marks that are being used can be tampered with, and you actually, when it's a tag, you track the tag. The tag can get lost. But with our approach and our system, we use the unique biometric features of the animal, so that can't be tampered with, it can't get lost. And that is what makes us, I think, putting us in a good position to complement these other technologies through that uniqueness and permanency that we provide to the market.
Now, are you familiar with RFID tags?
Yes.
Now, can these tags or ear tags in general be removed or swapped out as you just testified? And how does your system address that vulnerability?
These can definitely be lost or swapped out. I think that's one of the vulnerabilities of these specific methods being used. For example, we've seen that at some of the feed lots, they lose like about 16% of the RFID tags, and then these animals are basically contained in one area. So with our technology, how we complement it is that through using the animal's unique biometric identity that's actually unique to the animal, it's his. We can then make sure where you can scan the muzzle again, and you can immediately then tie back to which RFID tag that animal belongs to, basically, and you can fit the RFID tag again. Okay. That's how we see we can complement those specific technologies as well.
Now, just bringing it back to this case, the state witness, Mr. Francois Smith, testified in this matter. Is he a farmer in your ID scan?
Yes, he's a registered farmer on the system.
No further questions, Your Worship. Court, please. Thank you, Your Worship. Your Worship, the state calls our third state witness, Sergeant Mufuke. May he be sworn in. Court, pleases.
Sir, do you swear that the evidence you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I swear.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sir, may you please state your occupation for the record?
My name is Sergeant Mufuke. I'm a sergeant in South African Police Service with 15 years service.
At which police station are you stationed?
I'm stationed at Vepena.
Okay. Now, sir, is it correct that on the 9th of July 2025 you are on duty?
Yes, correct.
Yes, you were on patrol on the 9th of July 2025. What happened while you were on patrol?
As we were patrolling with Constable Chabalala, we encountered a white Isuzu buggy with a registration number GDF 234FS. It was towing a trailer with a registration number FSD 167FS. It was having an animal on the trailer. That animal, it was a red Bosmara cow.
Yes, what then happened?
As we were busy, we went with Constable Chabalala and apprehended the vehicle and stopped it so that it can step into the left-hand side of the road. Then the driver cooperated. He stopped the vehicle. Then I went and approached him.
Now, what was your reason for stopping the vehicle?
On our daily day-to-day duties, we normally conduct stop and searches, whereby like we will be searching the random car, whereby whether it will be going the direction that we are going or the opposite direction, to ensure that everything that goes on our roads is a stock that is legally needs to be there on the road to be transported, not so.
All right. Your evidence is that you stopped the vehicle and it parked to the left. What then happened?
I approached the vehicle in order to interview the driver. As I arrived, the driver cooperated and opened his window, his driver's window. Then I introduced myself to him. As I introduced myself to him, he cooperated. He told me his name is Abraham van Rooyen.
Okay. Now, is Mr. Abraham van Rooyen in court today?
Yes, he's in court today.
From where you were sitting, can you please point him out?
There he is with his attorney.
Thank you, Worship. May the record reflect that the witness has pointed out the accused person sitting in the accused dock as Abraham van Rooyen. Court, please, Worship. Now, the accused person has already been pointed out. Now, you testified that you stopped this car that was traveling and you asked it to park on the left. What was your reason for stopping this vehicle? What were you looking for?
On our mandate, on our daily duties as stocknet members who are performing their duties on their daily basis, the documents that I needed from the suspect are Section 6 document, which is the transfer of the ownership when someone has bought an animal from another owner. Then another one which is utilized on the public road, it's Section 8 document, which is a movement document whereby like we are delegating someone to transport stock on your behalf.
So essentially, if I'm understanding your evidence, you are looking for any form of documentation that shows that the driver or the owner of the vehicle is the one that is responsible for the car.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, you testified in your evidence that you saw a tampering of the brand mark on the left buttocks. Am I correct?
Yes, correct.
What makes you arrive at the conclusion that this brand mark is tampered with? In your own observation, what could you see that led you to this conclusion?
When we check the brand mark with the suspect, the brand mark which is new that was still smelling, it's FBD. I could only notice capital letter C, which is an old brand mark.
When you say it was smelling, what was smelling? What do you mean?
Using my 5 senses, I could sense that this particular brand mark is not so it's not a long time ago whereby it was branded. It was still smelling as in like something, it was burnt.
Okay. Now, you see this brand mark, you smell that it has just been tampered with, or it still smells like burning. What then happened?
Then, after checking that brand mark, me and the suspect, we went to the buggy. That's where we found the branding iron and the gas stove. Meaning, in my conclusion, I concluded that the suspect used the gas stove and the branding iron to brand this particular Bosmara red cow.
This brand mark that you found in the bucky, can you describe the brand mark?
The brand mark that I found in the buggy, it's an iron. It has an iron letters, which is FBD.
Okay. And then what happened?
Then, based on my suspicion, I could definitely see that this particular cow is stolen. Then I took the photos. Then I sent them over to in WhatsApp group so that to try to trace the owner of this particular animal, because now it's unknown.
You took photos of the cow. Which part of the cow? What photos did you take?
I took the close up on the head and the ears and the brand mark. There's the photos that I took.
And you say you circulated this in a WhatsApp group. What WhatsApp group is this? What was the purpose for you to circulate this?
This particular WhatsApp group is a WhatsApp group whereby like the farmers have grouped themselves, commercial farmers, whereby like they are assisting each other in case they are having problems, and in order to assist with the stock theft and other farm problems, sort of crimes such as farm attacks, etc.
Did you ask the accused for an explanation of why he's in possession of this animal, of this cow?
Yes, I have asked him.
What was his explanation?
His explanation, he said he was transporting this cow from Wepener to Van Stennisres for his friend.
Did you follow up that explanation?
I had followed up that alibi. I have called the friend, he gave me the number. Then when the friend heard it's me, the police official who was calling, he denied everything.
Did you introduce yourself to the friend?
Yes, I have introduced me.
What happened after he denied everything?
Then after he denied everything, due to now I'm having a full suspicion, I informed the suspect and fully informed him his constitutional right with the language that he understands, that I'm placing him under arrest, then that I'm seizing everything. I'm seizing his vehicle, the trailer, and the animal, the cow, which is the red Bosmara.
What were you arresting him for?
I was arresting him for stock theft.
Okay, then what happened?
Then I took everything to Wepener police station. Then later at around 7:20, a message came up that this particular cow belongs to Mr. Smith.
Where did you get this information from?
From the WhatsApp group that I have sent.
Yes, what then did you do?
Then, as I was there at the police station, I was busy opening a docket. Then that's where I met Mr. Smith. It was around 8 o'clock.
Is this 8 o'clock in the evening or in the morning?
In the morning.
Okay. Yes, you met Mr. Smith. What then happened?
Then I, Mr. Smith, and the suspect, we went to check this particular cattle, this particular cow. Then Mr. Smith went there in order to positively identify the cow. By now, due to the brand mark was tampered with, he could not positively identify the cow. He could only recognize his capital letter C on the skin of the cow.
And what was Mr. Smith's brand mark?
Mr. Smith's brand mark is ABC.
Okay. And he could only identify the C.
He could only identify the C.
Was this done in the presence of the accused?
Yes, this was done in the presence of the accused.
Okay. What then happened?
Then, due to Mr. Smith could not identify his Bosmara cow via the brand mark, he then took out a cloth, then he wiped the nose of this particular cow. Then he took a photo of it in front on the nose. Then he called other people for further investigation. Then I went on and continued to detain the suspect.
Was the accused present when these photos were taken?
Yes, he was present.
And what then happened to the cow after Mr. Smith had taken the photos?
Mr. Smith conducted his own investigation. Then he later came back to me, and then that's whereby he was having an IDC certificate, whereby this certificate it can show me and direct me the origin of this particular cow, that how it was brand marked.
Now, we'll have another witness to testify on this aspect. However, my question is regarding the physical cow itself. What happened to the cow? What then happened to it?
The particular cow, it was taken back, it was taken to the pound, whereby Mr. Guerrier, he took it for safekeeping. That's whereby it was put in a press so that it can be proper examined.
I have no further questions, Your Worship. Court, please.
Sergeant, when you inspected the animal in question, did you find any other marks on the specific animal?
All that I could see there, it's a brand mark that was tampered with. I could see Foxtrot Bravo Delta and an old capital letter C.
Thank you, sir. Sergeant, you earlier mentioned that you saw the accused. You know the accused?
No, it was the first time whereby I met him on this particular road.
Thank you. Sergeant, when you first experienced the accused on the scene, did he came over as under the influence of liquor or some kind of substance?
No, while I was interviewing him, he was in sound, sober senses. There was no suspicion that he was under any influence of any.
Thank you, Worship. No further questions.
No further questions for the witness, Your Worship. Your Worship, the state calls our fourth state witness, Mr. Francois van der Merwe. May he be sworn in. Court, please.
Sir, do you swear that the evidence you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, raise your right hand and say, so help me God.
I do, so help me God.
Mr. van der Merwe, afternoon. May you please briefly explain your qualifications for the court?
Yes, with pleasure. I'm a retired Lieutenant Colonel I was in command of, amongst others, the National Crime Scene Processing Team and the research section of the Criminal Record Center Division Forensics. I am a fingerprint, shoe and tie track expert, draftsman, photographer and bloodstain pattern interpreter. I'm also a counter-terrorism and post-blast investigator. I've been a fingerprint expert since 1986. I received training from the training section, Criminal Record Section, Division SAPS Forensics, Department of Justice FBI, Stockholm Police, International Police Association, Los Angeles Bomb Squad, the French Police, Scotland Yard, and the Universities of Pretoria and UNISA. I'm currently head of training at Wesco Forensic Science Consultants, and then my role in this case was to compare the two muzzle prints of two digital images I received.
Now, you have provided this court with your CV, your qualifications. Have you ever testified in court?
Numerous cases, as I was in the South African Police Service for 40 years.
What was your role in these cases? What evidence were you providing to the court?
I was requested by the client, Mr. Francois Smith.
Sorry.
Before we get to this case in particular, in the past, what was your role in the numerous cases that you have testified?
Sorry, I misunderstood you there, sir.
Yes.
In all the various cases regarding all the stuff I already mentioned to you, I mainly testified on cases like fingerprint identification and bloodstain pattern analysis and all the other disciplines which I have already mentioned.
At Wesco Forensic Services, are you considered a fingerprint expert?
Yes, I am a fingerprint expert with Forensic Science Consultants, yes.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. van der Merwe, may you please explain to the court how you became involved in the investigations concerning the muscle print of this case?
Yes, as I was mentioning just now, I received a request from the client, Mr. Francois Smith, on the 9th of July 2025 for the investigation involving suspected livestock theft.
Yes.
My specific task was to compare the muzzle print of the recovered cattle with existing records or reference samples to determine whether the animals match those reported as stolen.
Can you, before we get to how you compared them in this case, can you explain to the court what is muzzle print identification?
Yes, with pleasure, sir. I'll start with, to identify muzzle prints, radiology science is applied. That's the same as that of fingerprints. Okay, then I'll continue to explain radiology, as I don't know if this court understands it. Radiology teaches that muzzle print identification is an evaluative process. It's not dependent on any minimum threshold value, such as a 7-point or any other numbers, such as fingerprints.
Okay.
Rather, the examiner must analyze the muzzle or any latent print for all the information present in it. That is, to mention a few, the ridge flow, minutiae, and the finger and the finer shapes and details that may be present. Each of the print must then be compared with a known print and evaluated in total.
All right. Before we proceed, I just want to clarify an aspect so that the court and myself are in the same picture. Can you explain what is ridge flow or finer shapes? What do you mean by that?
It's similar as the patterns you find in fingerprints. So each ridge has got a unique ridge flow, and you work according to that ridge flow and the patterns. In other words, the finer detail that is present in each print.
Okay. Yes, you may proceed. You said each of these ridge flows represented in the muzzle. What about them?
Okay, I'll continue with a fingerprint investigation process has remained relatively constant over the past 100 years. However, how examinations are conducted and identifications are effected have changed dramatically within the past few decades. There is more involvement than just the golden points or the point criteria. I'll continue to explain. You've got 3 levels of detail are considered and taken into account at each level during investigation or analysis of the prints. Namely, firstly, you look at the overall ridge flow. We talked about that.
Yes.
That includes the pattern as well as, in the case of fingerprints, major creases.
Okay.
The second level is the individual characteristics of the path deviations. Okay, I'll continue then. With the third level, you look at the third level detail is unique shape and size of the ridges and edges of the ridges. There is no scientific basis in existence for a predetermined minimum number of golden points to establish positive identification. The quantity, quality and clarity of the ridges are taken in consideration. Muzzle print identification is based on 2 primary factors, namely uniqueness and permanence. Okay?
Mr. van der Merwe, in this case, we have already heard evidence that Esias Botha, the CEO of ID Scan, has presented.
Yes.
Where he testified that for his technology, in order to establish whether the 2 images will be the same, coming from the same muzzle or the same animal, they look at a 10-point system, a 10-point identification system.
Yeah.
What do you have to say to that?
Okay, yes, the 10 points for ID Scan is just for their processes to make a positive identification. It is not, it's got nothing to do with my identification of that. It's just for their systems to make identification.
Okay, so the difference, his is technologically
It's
based.
technologically points that they mark at. That.
And what you are explaining is you use the uniqueness, the 2 primary factors. You use this in your day-to-day as a human.
Yes.
As opposed to the technology.
You explained it well, sir.
All right. Now, what then is ACE V application? What is that?
ACE-V, it stands for Analyze, Compare, Evaluate, and Verify. It is the process ACE-V is applied during comparisons of prints. I can explain ACE-V to you.
Yes.
Okay, ACE-V is a scientific method used to evaluate a print. The first step is the observation and analysis of the print. So it's overall observation of the print. Then the second step is the formulation of a hypothesis by comparison of the unknown muzzle impression to form a hypothesis to predict the results.
Okay.
Then I'll move over to the third step, which is evaluation of information to form a conclusion of identification or elimination. Then the fourth step is a final step of a scientific method. It's the performance of an independent test by independent examiners to verify the findings and conclusion reached by the initial examiner. So it is a verification by a second examiner, which can rule out any mistakes that there possibly could be.
All right. Now, can you explain for us in this court what is the characteristics of any science?
Yes, the characteristics of any science, it is to make a precise statement within a discipline that may be verified by other qualified persons, as I mentioned just now. This identification method, correctly understood and applied, is just as scientifically valid and reliable as any other science.
You're painting a clear picture of the science you use and your expertise. Now, for this court, let us bring it a bit closer. How did you get involved, and what steps and methods did you take to identify the cattle?
Yes, the steps and methods I applied the radiology. It is a scientific method, as explained to the court, to identify the rich detail of muzzle prints, which I received. And then, to just give some more clarity, muzzle prints remains unchanged throughout the animal's lifetime, except for accidental or intentional scarification or alteration. This has stood a test of time, and it has been established that rich details remain unchanged naturally during the lifetime of an animal, or like the same as fingerprints.
So, from the time that the cattle or the cow is born till death, the same ridges apply?
The same ridges apply. Only thing is, if they captured when the cow was still small, the ridges might be a little bit smaller, but as it goes bigger. But the pattern and all the ridges, everything remains the same. But as I say, if there was any alterations, like scarification, it was injured and stuff, then they might differ. But you can explain it. So it's explainable difference there.
Yes.
Okay.
In this case, do you have any insight into the database of the ID scan system as to the animals of the complainant?
No, I do not have any insight in that. If the court pleases, I'd also just want to mention that rich detail exhibits so much variety of detail that no muzzle prints are ever found to be the same of one animal to that of another animal. If you can just...
Now, in this case, can you explain to the court fully what you did to identify whether the cattle belonged to Mr. Francois Smith?
Yes, I made a printout. It's an enlargement of the digital images I received from Mr. Smith. If the court pleases, I can show it to the court.
Yes.
It is this over here.
Now, can you explain
what is it that the court is looking at here and try and explain what we are seeing?
Okay, as I said, it's an enlargement of the muzzle prints. You can see all the rich detail over here. On the first one is an enlargement, but without the markings of the ridges of the muzzle print. The second one, you can see there are numerous markings, that indicates all the similarities in that muzzle print.
Okay.
I see all the similarities you're pointing out. However, can we take it a step back and look at the left? What is it that is being portrayed on the left side?
Yes, as you can see, there's a separation line, and then on the left, it is the markings of the onboarded image. That is the images that was captured by the farmer in the beginning.
Okay, so in this particular case, the left, the farmer being Mr. Francois Smith.
Correct, yes, sir.
This is what he used on his ID scan.
Yes.
Okay, what is the image on the right?
On the right is the captured images of the muzzle print of the recovered cattle, the one that was found.
Okay, now I understand. And I see there's markings that are linking the two. Can you just explain what are all of those lines that are shown there?
They are all similarities that is the same on the two muzzle prints. Like fingerprints, you've got all the prints, and all the rich features is marked out. It's exactly the same as the muzzle prints. So all the similarities, that's exactly the same, is marked out with all this. There are numerous, as you can see, there's numerous marks, and even without those markings, there are other marks that's not marked out, so there's many more than these couple of these you see here.
Who made those markings? Who identified that it's the
It is
same?
markings as a printout of the ID scan system.
Okay. I see there are numerous number of the same markings. Based on this marking system, what is your conclusion?
Yes, in my professional opinion, I'm confident that the cattle belongs to Mr. Francois Smith. I found that the ridge features to be the same with regards to the place, form and direction. So my conclusion beyond any doubt is that the muzzle print images are from one and the same animal.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Worship.
In your extensive experience, would you please explain to the court whether or not it's possible that there's a percentage of error involved in comparing the prints of, as you testified earlier?
No, there's absolutely no chance. As I explained, by applying the scientific method which I applied, this is ACE-B method I used to identify muzzle prints. It is the same process that we use to identify fingerprints, which has been used worldwide by many experts for many years, and thus mistakes are ruled out.
Thank you. Mr. Prosecutor, you're going to tender the document into evidence.
Indeed so, Your Worship. We request the document to be admitted as real evidence, Exhibit 1, if there's no objection from the defense.
Any objection?
Thank you, Your Worship. No further questions.
Thank you. The court shall receive the document marked Exhibit 1.
As the court pleases, Your Worship.
Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor. You can continue.
I have no further questions for the witness.
Thank you. Cross-examination.
No, thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You're excused. Mr. Van Rooyen, can you please stand? The accused, Mr. Abraham Van Rooyen, is charged with the crime of stock theft in that he allegedly and intentionally and unlawfully stole one Bonsmara cow, the property of Mr. Francois Smith, between the 7th of July 2025 and the 9th of July 2025. The accused has pleaded not guilty. After the court has summarized the vital points of evidence according to the testimony of the various witnesses, the court would like to make the following remarks. In terms of the Electronic Communication and Transmissions Act, Act 25 of 2002, all digital messages, data, videos, photographs, and so forth has to be authenticated. There are only two ways in which this can be done. That is either by the person who is the author thereof, or by an expert. Now, it is straight and common law in our country that the principle is on the onus is on the prosecution to prove the guilt of the accused beyond reasonable doubt. That not only includes all the elements of the crime, but as well as the admissibility of the numerous documents and data and videos and whatever has been tendered into evidence in this court. From 1937, in Rex versus Difford, 1937, Appeal Division, page 370, until the latest decision of the Constitutional Court in the case of the state versus Tebbis and Adams, case number 36 of 02, the principle of beyond reasonable doubt has been defined as follows. The accused version can not be rejected only on the basis that it is improbable, but only once the trial court has found, on credible evidence, the explanation is false beyond reasonable doubt. Now, returning to the case of the accused person, the accused exercised his right to remain silent, which is his constitutional right in terms of sections 35(1)(a) and 35(3)(h) of the Constitution. The court cannot make any adverse conclusion therefrom. It only puts the accused in the difficult position that only the state case is before the court to consider. As far as the defense has not put the version of the accused to all the witnesses, this might be a very vital point. Be it as it may, as far as the admissibility of the expert evidence and documents tendered into the court is satisfied that witnesses Botha, Van der Merwe are experts in their field. The court is satisfied that there cannot be any doubt that the cow that was found in the possession of you, sir, Mr. Van Rooyen, is the same cow that had been stolen from the farm of the complainant. For the above reasons, the court is satisfied that the prosecution has proved their case beyond reasonable doubt and the accused is found guilty as charged. Thank you. Mr. Prosecution, do you prove any previous convictions?
State proves no previous conviction against the accused person, Your Worship.
Thank you. Anything in mitigation?
Worship, Mr. Van Rooyen is a rather youthful person at the current moment. He's got two children that he is looking after. He's at the current moment unemployed, and to this extent we would request the court to have a consideration of these mitigating circumstances.
Thank you, Your Worship. Your Worship, the state in aggravation will rely on the court case of State versus Zinn, in where the appellant division found or provided that the tried factors that the court must consider when sentencing an accused, namely the seriousness of the offense, the personal circumstances of the accused, as well as the interest of society. The personal circumstances of the accused person are already before court and fresh in the court's mind. I will not belabor and repeat same. Safe to say that the accused person did not plead guilty, which is his constitutional right. However, he took the court on a lengthy trial wherein he did not even offer a defense and could have saved state resources and the court's time. The seriousness of the offense, Your Worship. Your Worship, we'll see, as we've seen on today's court roll, there is numerous cases of the same nature, Your Worship. This emphasizes the prevalence and the seriousness of the offense. On a daily basis, this court sits to listen to cases of the same nature where accused persons, such as the accused person before court, think it is better to not look for employment as he is unemployed, but rather steal someone else's property. And Your Worship, this property before the court, it is a cattle, it is a cow. However, the impact of it, the seriousness of it, Your Worship, it is not only merely a property which causes financial loss on the accused, but on the complainant, my apologies. However, it is so impactful that it even affects his livelihood, his children's life, his family livelihood, Your Worship. This is an act of selfishness by the accused person before court, Your Worship. Your Worship, the accused person has not, even in this trial, put the court in his confidence to testify about why the court should be lenient on him, Your Worship. All he did through the mouthpiece, his mouthpiece being his attorney, legal representative, is just ask for a lenient sentence. But why? What motivated this? This was a selfish and careless crime that was committed by the accused person, Your Worship. Your Worship, my humble submission is that the court ought to pass a sentence that not only punishes the accused person before court for the crime in which he committed. However, it sends a message out there to the next person that should you commit an offense of the similar nature, the court will look down on it. The court will offer a sentence or will pass a sentence which punishes the accused person so that he regrets his choice in life, Your Worship. The sentence ought to deter would-be offenders, ought to punish the accused person, and ought to give a sense of justice to the community, Your Worship. The court, the community looks upon the courts not only to deliver justice, but, Your Worship, justice must also seen to be done, Your Worship. We must show the community out there that the court takes these kind of crimes serious, Your Worship, and the sentence in which the court passes will pass that message down along, Your Worship. My humble submission is that the accused person, a suitable sentence for the accused, taking into account all the factors listed in State v. Zinn, is a term of imprisonment, Your Worship. However, the only factor that is playing on the accused person's side is that he's a first-time offender. Therefore, I will submit that a half-suspended sentence would be an appropriate sentence in the matter, Your Worship. As the court pleases, Your Worship.
Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor.
Court pleases, Your Worship.
Want to reply? Sir?
Thank you, Worship. No further comment.
Thank you. Mr. Van Rooyen, the court takes into consideration the so-called triad, the interest of the community, the seriousness of the crime, and your personal circumstances. I must agree with the prosecution that it is a serious crime, not only depriving the owner thereof of the potential, what is in the cow for future, but also the financial implications thereof. I am sure that in this district, this kind of crime is daily on the court rolls. I also take into consideration your personal circumstances. I am aware thereof that the courts are hesitant to send the first offender directly to prison. But on the other hand, it doesn't give a first offender carte blanche to commit any crimes. After considering all the facts, the court is of the opinion that the following sentence is suitable, taking all the factors into account. You are sentenced to 5 years imprisonment. 2 years thereof are suspended for 5 years on condition that you are not found guilty of a similar crime during the period of suspension. Do you understand the sentence, sir?
Yes.
Thank you. Court adjourns.
Court pleases you. All rise.